Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Jouer Essential High Coverage Cream Foundation in the shade Fawn. Looks like this. I'm going to prime and moisturize my face the same way I normally would. So I already actually put the Unseen Sunscreen by Supergoop all over my face. And next what I would normally do is add the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Eye Cream. Take a little bit of that and I'll add it to my under eyes. Okay, so once that's finished, I actually have been using the Tatcha, the Silk Canvas Primer. So I just like to take a little bit on my finger and add that to places I know that foundation kind of tries to like sink in and crease on me. Just smooth things out, my smile lines and my pores through here. Nose. The only thing that I am a little concerned about is right now I do not have a tan, but I think if I did, this would not be dark enough. And I kind of ordered it more for a tan shade because it said it was equivalent to the Armani Luminous Silk in the shade 6, which is like my perfect foundation shade for when I do have a bit of a tan. And I had a hard time finding something darker that would look right on me, so I'm gonna see how this works, and I can always try something else, but see if this works. So it says shake well. So the box that it comes in looks like this. It's actually massive for the foundation, like it's huge. Basically just says it's supreme coverage, lightweight, long wearing, airbrushed matte finish instantly. I will try it with a brush first, so I'm just going to add a pump. It's super runny. That's one thing I will say about it. The pump feels super nice though, like the packaging is really nice. Let's see if it oxidizes. I think I remember it oxidizing on me when I got like a tiny little sample of it, so I'll just wait a second and see what happens. It's a little bit darker right here where it's more dried down and lighter through here. So you add see the difference. Yeah. So it does oxidize, and it oxidizes actually more closely to the shade, like my skin tone now. So as I'm blending it, it does dry, so I'm just kind of focusing on this area before I go anywhere else with it. I've only done this area so far, and it looks really good. It looks very smooth and like a really good shade now, actually, after it's oxidized. I'm tugging just a little bit, but it's blending out really nicely. So far this is how it looks. The other side. This is the brush side. So anyways, the issue is I put too much on my hand and then it starts to dry down. So now okay, so it's still sticky, by the way. Like it dries down, but it's not like totally dried down. Like it just feels like it's thickened up on my skin, which is weird. But I always use powder, so I don't care if the foundation is self-setting. I'm gonna add powder, so stay tuned. So I guess I will add another pump on my hand. I feel like it looks kind of dry on my eyelids, like up through here, so I may wipe that off and just use concealer there. I always run my foundation over my eyelids just to cancel out any redness and darkness. This reminds me of like the Remarkable foundation coverage. Like I would say that that's probably the only other thing that I've used on this level before. It's doing a weird thing on my nose with my pores. particularly on this side. But the thing is, with a super full coverage foundation, it's gonna, I mean, it's hard to have something this full coverage not look like there's makeup, but it has not dried down. It stayed sticky this whole time, but I do really like the way the coverage looks, and I do feel like in general my skin looks very like smoothed out and like filtered, so I do really like that. Sorry, my lips are so crusty. So yeah, so far it looks really good. Something I would definitely use again, just off of my impressions so far. So I'm going to add my concealer now. I feel like things, or at least my concealer, is blending on top of this the way that I would expect it to blend on top of all my other favorite foundations. Looks super good. My eyelids do look really fucked up. Like, I'm just gonna say that right now. Like, I just feel like maybe this isn't a foundation that you can run over your eyelids, and that is totally fine. Foundation is not meant to be, you know, an eyelid primer. So I do have some texture. I used that avocado sleeping mask thing, and it gave me like 8 zits through here. It broke out my eyelids, like in my under eyes. I don't even know how that's possible, so I'm kind of reeling in from the damage of that. So yeah, I'm looking rough. I recently picked up the Nudestix Nudies All Over Face Color in Bondi Bay, and it looks like this. And then the product, which is a nice bronze color. A YouTuber named Maddie Bernard uses this, and so I had to have it. And I like to take my foundation brush, stipple upwards, and I just kind of start here. And it's more like that natural matte, hasn't set down but looks matte kind of finish. It's blending really well on top of the foundation. There's no like weird skipping. It doesn't pull the product off your face. That is the worst if you're trying to blend something on top of foundation and it just like yanks the product off. Next, my blush is the Charlotte Tilbury Cheek to Chic Swish and Pop Blusher in Love Glow. I finally have the rest of my full face on. As a whole, the foundation, it looks very like airbrushed and smooth when I hold my mirror out here, and I'm sure it looks really nice on camera because it's just kind of one of those really full coverage foundations that would. The only thing is, it doesn't feel as lightweight as actually, you know what? I did expect it to not feel as lightweight because it is full coverage. It is supposed to dry down to a matte, and so it will get like a funky texture. So I can like feel it on my face a little bit, but this is something that I would definitely use for any events that I have. So I am really loving the way it looks just in general. Definitely more dry than I'm used to. Okay, so it is now about 5:40 in the afternoon, so the foundation has been on for about 5 hours, and I'm actually really impressed with how well it's held up, because I've heard people say that it wipes off super easily, like on your nose and your mouth area, and by the end of the day it's like all off like through this area, but it's on my nose. My lips are weirdly dry, and so there's like the foundation just like won't stick to that, but that's just like how my skin has been lately. And yeah, I'm actually really impressed. It's held up really well. It looks really good. Just through here are like my issues, but I'm also just, my skin is really funky lately, and so I'm not really attributing that to the foundation. I'm attributing it more to just my own skin. So yeah, it looks really good. It's been on for about 5 hours. The issue I have is like on my eyelids, like I set it and everything, but it creases super bad up here. Like I did everything I could to avoid that, but it's just like, a whole thing. So that's kind of irritating. So I think if I were to wear this again, which I probably will, I will just use foundation, or not foundation, but concealer right there, instead of bringing my foundation over my eyelids, which I usually always do and it's never an issue, but this time for some reason it was. So anyways, yeah, that's how it's going. Looking pretty good. Nice. All right, well, I will try and check in again in a little bit. Okay, so today is literally the day after, or a couple days after I did this foundation review, and I realized that I didn't save my final thoughts or check back in like I said I would. So basically, when I was wearing the foundation, because I wasn't used to wearing a full coverage foundation, I was thinking that it looked really good and that I would use it again. But then I applied my self tanner, which made me a little darker. So then the next day I decided to wear a foundation that was decently full coverage, not quite the level of the Jouer one, but I wore the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation. And I realized that I actually don't know if I really would want to keep the Jouer foundation, because I felt like I got enough coverage, or oh, sorry, I lost a nail also. I felt like I got enough coverage, but it looked way better when I wore the Tarte one. I just think my skin is maybe a little too dry for the Jouer one, and I don't have enough things to wear such a full coverage foundation to justify keeping it, but I'm still kind of on the fence about it. The only other thing is I feel like there's not like a darker but still pretty yellowish foundation shade for me, so I should double check and go back and look. It just kind of dries down and it's hard to move around, but I think if you do have even combo or oily skin, you would really like that foundation. Like if you want full coverage and you have oily or combo skin, I think that you would really like the Jouer foundation. So those are my final thoughts. I'm actually editing this video right now, which is how I realized that I forgot to do this. So yeah, thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe.